Aloha, I am June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks, and this is the XFL Show.
If you smell what the XFL is cooking.
Welcome, football fans. This is For the Love of Football. This is the road to 2023, and this is the XFL Show. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bryant.
And this week, the Canadian games rolled on, the college game kicked off, the NFL game has cut days looming, and I just got to say, this is episode 185. We are more focused on football than ever before, Bryant. I have a ton of football right now on my screen as I look at you and do the show at the same time because college games are going on. The CFL's playing as we speak. I got the preseason on. It's action-packed. I'm enjoying myself. Unfortunately, none of it's XFL football, but we have some good XFL talk lined up today.
You have been so focused on professional football this week. It's actually kind of sickening, but it's okay.
Also college.
College. Just on college football as well. All types of football. It's been another great week for football as we get closer and closer to the NFL season because you just mentioned the NCAA season just kicked off. UCLA. They covered. Is that all we care about now? They covered. We're just turning into a betting podcast.
Yeah, baby.
And we're 1 week closer to the XFL kicking off.
1 week closer than ever before, some would say. And some would also say that you should get involved in the show. And a lot of you do. We're going to talk about some of you getting involved. And some of you out there maybe listening say, oh, I have a thought. Maybe I'll call the XFL Fan Line, 724-565-4XFL. You could call it, leave a voicemail. We could play it on the show if you give us permission. We're not going to play it unless you want us to. Give us your name, where you're from also, if you call or text the XFL Fan Line. Feel free to text. Been getting a lot of those messages. People really speculating, Bryant, because you were really fanning those flames, telling everybody speculate away, have fun, get weird. They are, and they're doing it on the XFL Fan Line or, of course, social media, where everything is just too weird at XFL Show. And you can reach us there. DMs are open. And of course, this week, our show is brought to you by Pretty Easy Podcasts. You could go to prettyeasypodcast.com right now to get your own podcast started and get the help you need to get it launched, produced, sounding great. I'm not copyright infringing by doing that, am I? It is great to go to prettyeasypodcast.com, get all the help you need at an affordable rate. Do it now.
Because they make podcasting pretty easy. Here's the thing, Alan. The guys at Pretty Easy Podcast, if that's copyright, guess what they're going to do? They're going to snip it right out. Don't even have to worry about it. You say what you want because they'll handle it in post. It's all good.
Because not only can they delete it, they can also check, hey, Pretty Easy Pod, I'm putting this in here right now. Check if that's wrong for me to say great in that fashion. If it's wrong, take it out. You know what to do. And they'll know because they're very well-rounded at prettyeasypodcast.com. Okay, let's dink and dunk around. It's not a shot at our producer's bulbous rear end either. Dinking and dunking around XFL social media, Bryant. Saw a little article come out down in Texas this week. Little name change.
Did you visit Texas this week too?
No, I was reading. I did not go to Texas.
Jeez, I thought you were in Texas. You saw an article while in Texas.
No, I read it on the internet, and it told me that Globe Life Park, the former home of the Dallas Renegades, is changing its name to Choctaw Stadium. Like the name?
What is Choctaw? I was going to look it up. I haven't looked it up yet.
I think it's a Native American casino chain, and they are or gambling chain. I'm not certain exactly. I didn't look too much into it because it's a dink and dunk. It's not a major. The Dallas Renegades aren't playing there.
You know, it's funny is I was writing the headline for this, little thing you see down here, and I was like, how can I write this? And I was like, oh, the XFL storage facility has changed its name to Choctaw Stadium.
So yeah, all the XFL, if they play there again, the Dallas Renegades being they, then yes, the storage facility for the league will probably be at Choctaw Stadium, and I'm down for
Isn't
some
it there
Choctaw
now? I
bingo.
think they still have their stuff there now. If I'm not
Is
mistaken.
it all still there at Choctaw?
That's what I remember. Last I heard.
If you're near Choctaw Stadium, go check it out for us and give us a report. What stuff's still being kept there, and also how do you play Choctaw bingo? I'm very interested. Real quick, also friends of the show, Doug Whaley and Eric Galko working together again. Eric Galko, who's now we've talked about this, the head of the East-West Shrine Bowl and player personnel and director of football ops for the big scouting event at the end of college football season. Eric Galko announcing that Doug Whaley, who's the former head of football ops for the XFL, will be joining as a consultant with the East-West Shrine game, tweeting out, excited to have Doug Whaley on the team after working together to build the XFL's personnel. Glad we could keep it going. And that's cool to see. They're still working together, and hopefully one day, maybe they'll resume their XFL work, because they did a hell of a job, and I'm sure they think there's unfinished business, but I don't know where they could go working with the East-West Shrine game, Bryant, but you and I have a soft spot for both those guys. Doug Whaley's been doing hits on the radio in Pittsburgh too. I've been listening to some of that, so it's just good to hear him talking NFL football too, all the knowledge he has, and of course those guys helping great players get found, which is what I really love about the work they do.
That's what they did. The XFL is what they're going to do with the Shrine Bowl. So it's great for them to work together. I kind of glad they're continuing to work together, because that bond was probably something that they, was built while they were doing the XFL, and now with the Shrine Bowl, it's great. And if one day they want to come back, they'll just be like stepping right back into it. Like
and if you're Justin Herbert listening to the show right now or watching us, Justin, you should send those guys a thank you, because without them, you would not have Donald Parham to throw to. And what a great person to throw to with that ridiculous catch radius. So thank them, Justin. And also, why don't you go win MVP? Because I did put a bet on him to win it. Futures bet, Brian.
We're betting.
I love it. It's legal in some states. Okay, Dinkin and Duncan some more. It's the XFL Fan Line. Got a great text from Anonymous. Leave your name and where you're from. This person did not put anything here. And they said, I've got a speculation topic for you. Do you think, as founder, Vince McMahon will be acknowledged by the league and the new ownership group? For example, could they play for the Vince McMahon Trophy? Maybe Founders Weekend when the two divisional playoffs are held? What's your take? Vince McMahon being acknowledged by the new XFL ownership in some form or fashion. Does Vince McMahon call them up and say, hey, good luck kicking off, but don't forget, acknowledge me for founding the league?
I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip this for a second.
Put your thing down, flip it, reverse it.
If the Rock was the previous owner of the XFL, and what happened, and then Vince McMahon bought it from him, I guarantee you, Vince McMahon would never utter the words "The Rock." He would find people if they called the football "The Rock." He would not do not mention him. And so I don't think they're going to mention him, at least not for now. It's a sore subject. It's not something you really want to bring up at the moment. Maybe in 5 years, 10 years, you bring it up. But right now, the way things ended, which no, don't get me wrong, it's not Vince McMahon's fault, but it is what it is. That's the situation that was led at hand. A lot of players are going to be sour. You think a lot of players that are playing right now want to play for the Vince McMahon Trophy? Yeah,
no.
See, so
also,
I think you got to let that cycle through.
Two things when it comes to the trophy. The NFL has the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Calling your trophy the Vince McMahon Trophy seems like, I don't know, like a knockoff version of that. It's the other Vince. I mean, not that Vince McMahon isn't, super influential and famous, and the name has all that cachet just like Vince Lombardi, sure. But it just doesn't sound right as a championship. A Founders Weekend, maybe let the wound heal. That's what I say. Maybe way down the road there, anonymous texter to the XFL Fan Line, but not just yet. Definitely not immediately. Definitely not year one, I would say. But who knows? The Rock's relationship with Vince McMahon, something special. Maybe he feels like they should do that. But then everybody else is like, no, Dwayne, can we not? We'll see what they do. I was hoping for Grey Cup, but that's not happening either. So we'll see. Shout out to Ninja.
The dark, the better Grey Cup.
The off-white cup.
There you go.
Shout out to Ninja Sealcoating, who texted us, Bryant, on the XFL Fan Line. Just a bunch of rad pictures of some homemade XFL 2020 team helmets. I guess these were custom made to display somewhere. I don't know, but their text came up as Ninja Sealcoating. They hit us up, saw these pictures getting ready for the show this week, going down deep into the texts we missed the last couple weeks, and they're really cool. And now I need to get some because you got me beat on the XFL memorabilia big time, but I'm becoming big on those helmets. Especially, I want to get all. Have you seen the ones that spin and they defy gravity with magnets? Have you seen those?
Oh, I think I have seen that. Yeah.
I'm thinking this week I was looking for a Steelers and Pitt one at least. And I mean, to have all 8 XFL helmets would just be the coolest. And then 2001 XFL helmets, if anyone could do that, I'm in the market. Maybe if I hit this futures bet on Justin Herbert.
So I'm actually trying to pull these up right now. I'm having a little technical difficulty because I want to see them. But so they're helmets that he created that were homemade.
Yeah, they apparently put the logos on them themselves. I don't know if they slapped a sticker on or drew them or what. It looked like they was hand drawn. I don't know, with some paint.
Okay, here it is. Okay, I got it.
Well,
so these are these are mini helmets, right? They can't be like big old helmets, but that's pretty cool.
Right, huh? I think that's hand painted. Right?
I'm gonna go with the St. Louis Battlehawks one. Is not the right color though. I will say that it's a little off. Other than that, everything's pretty good.
Got that one by me because it looks fine to me, but I am colorblind, so I don't know.
Work that it probably took to do those.
Great job. Good job.
I like how the Defender's helmet looks like it's just from like the 70s.
It does look. It looks like a USFL helmet. The logo does. Looking back on the DC logo, but maybe we'll be seeing it in the NFL soon.
If you send us this picture on Twitter, I'll retweet it. How about that?
There you go. Thanks
that
a
way
lot.
I know I have your permission.
And everyone who texted the XFL fan line, that's 724-5654-XFL. Now let's get into this week's Cover 2.
Good crisp.
First up, Bryant, radio host Matt Mosley broke the news, and now it is being reported the Big 12 is looking for Oliver Luck to help them navigate these murky waters of the new landscape of college football super conferences. So Oliver Luck, the former XFL commissioner and West Virginia AD and NCAA executive, is going to be a consultant with the Big 12 and helping them out. So this is going to be another tough job for Oliver Luck, Bryant. Maybe tougher than the XFL, because if you ask me, the Big 12 has no hope of maintaining its status, if it had any, among college football conferences compared to the others. That new alliance left them out with the ACC, Big 10, and Pac-12. The SEC is ginormous. What's your prediction for the Big 12 now that they got Oliver Luck in to save the day? It might be too little too late, if you ask me, as much as I respect Oliver Luck.
I mean, what is he going in there for? Is he going in there for what their best out options are? Maybe that's what it is for. Maybe they're like, okay, we need to figure out a place for each one of these teams, and what's the best option. He's just the commissioner, or just a consultant, not the commissioner. He's not the man in charge. He's just there. He can only advise. I can only imagine what he says. You think he's like, well, what if we reimagine the game of college football?
Yeah, reimagine what conferences are. I think he's going to go to the Big 12 meeting and say, what if we reimagine what West Virginia is doing with you, and they go to another conference, and I say goodbye to you, and then I'm out of this as well, because he's there to maybe just save his alma mater. That's maybe what he's doing. And as a Pitt fan, I hope he does. They should get out of there and join the ACC. As far as I'm concerned.
So who are the big dogs left? Really, it's West Virginia. Who's left?
Big 12?
Oklahoma State,
West Virginia,
Texas.
in basketball, you have Kansas at least for the Big 12. So the basketball has Kansas. And then everywhere else, it's, small time comparatively. Texas Tech, what's going on with the Big 12? What do they do? How do those teams stick it out together and not just say, okay, let's give in and go somewhere else? Like, that's got to be what's going to happen. The future is very unpredictable when it comes to college football and the conference alignments.
So if we
Oliver
look
Luck's
at,
involved in it now.
yeah, so you have Kansas in basketball. Well, Baylor, didn't they just win the championship? So they have Baylor.
Yeah.
But then it's OSU,
Perennially,
West Virginia,
I'm saying Kansas.
maybe they have TCU. Could they add anybody? Like, they could add Houston, maybe. Try to get Houston in there. Like,
what's going to happen? I don't know. I have no clue. But Oliver Luck in there. If anybody could salvage the Big 12, it could be him, because this guy's very smart. But my prediction is Oliver Luck's going to get in there and maybe get all the Big 12 teams better deals as they leave the Big 12.
That's what I'm saying. Did he go in there to disband them?
Yes. Or join the alliance.
Is he there to disband the league and get them better homes? Like West Virginia.
Yeah, and also calling it an alliance between the Big 10, Pac-12, and ACC. That word still has negative
Alliance of
connotations.
American College Football.
No, thank you. Part 2 of the cover 2, the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball and their board of directors. Yeah, baseball. Why are we talking this? Well, because another XFL head honcho involved here. The head honcho, Danny Garcia. This news broke a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, maybe more. We didn't bring it up because none of it was really official, not too affiliated with the XFL. But now that one of the XFL's part of its ownership group is involved, we'll talk about it, Bryant. The Atlantic League of Professional Baseball and their board of directors approved a new Staten Island team. Danny Garcia is a part of that ownership group, along with Colin Jost and Pete Davidson of Saturday Night Live. And they will be joining, their Staten Island team will be joining the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball, the ALPB. So Danny Garcia, real itch to be a sports owner, owns the XFL already, but they're not playing games, is going to get a team on the field this year, or excuse me, next year. What year are we in? Is it 2022 yet?
2022, no.
So 2022, she'll be getting the team in there. And great for her, but live TV to navigate. They do have some kinks they got to work out. Like the search function on that is not.
Yeah, but it's also, to me, not meant to be a search thing. Like, that's why I'm getting it. Like, search works, obviously, but they have channels. Yeah. Like, literal channels that you go there and it's this channel, the golf channel. But it's not the golf channel. They've done a good job of grouping, like, the properties they have on Peacock into sections that it's easy to go pick what you want from it. So, like, if you're a WWE fan, you go to the WWE Network section. It's all there. You just click around and you find stuff. A lot of people complain you can't search for certain things, but those are the real big nerds like us. If you're a Premier League fan, and I've been watching that all season so far, very easy to navigate. Go to the sports section. It has a hub for all those games. So something similar for the XFL, I think, would be really cool. And either way, just a home for the XFL in 2023 on a Peacock or an Amazon would be absolutely thrilling. But can you imagine a 24/7 XFL channel on Peacock?
Yeah.
Like, that's great. What I envision, right? Yeah. You just have the games rolling. You have the backstage stuff, the pregame shows, all these stuff.
A live channel on that guide, on the live portion of Peacock would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Or we'll see. Maybe on Pluto TV, which is also very good. A gem of streaming apps that not a lot of people know about. They're not paying me. I'm just giving that as a suggestion, Bryant. People should watch it. It's very good. They've got old music videos on it. That's what I go to it for sometimes. But right now I'm watching the BC Lions beat the Red Blacks as I talk to you about the XFL and the future of 2023. Won't be involving the CFL, but it's going to be debuting in 2023 in probably a different football world than we're in right now. because look at how different football is now, top to bottom, NFL all the way down to college. And then you look at everything else like the CFL and everything on the horizon with the USFL and the XFL. All sorts of moving parts, change, some would say maybe instability in the sport of football. And we need to discuss this. This is a very serious topic this week, Bryant. And we're focused on football this week, don't forget. So get focused extra for this week's Hot Read. So let's face it, Bryant, I'm going to straight out and say football is not stable right now. Instability everywhere. I mean, let's pick it apart. College football, we just spoke about all the conference shenanigans, super conferences, alliances, NIL. Everything moving forward with college football, uncertain. The NFL, constantly changing their rules, constantly tweaking the game, enforcing different things here, not enforcing things there. It's never the same each and every NFL season, which some people think is exciting, but when it comes to just the structure and stability of the rules, that's annoying to a lot of football fans, I would think. You have, then of course, you looking elsewhere, the CFL, which I'm watching right now, is fantastic, but they're living paycheck to paycheck pretty much. And then you have spring football being tried left and right by everybody. The Alliance, the XFL, the USFL, the UFL, the scouting events that are masked as leagues. I don't know. Everybody's trying a spring league. We keep saying everybody's going to try a spring league until it sticks. All these moving parts. Let's speculate. Your favorite thing to do. What does the future of the sport hold when all these things are moving around all the time? Do you think let's narrow it down. Will there be a stretch of just 5 years where there are no major changes in the sport of football across the board and we have an actual status quo we can just rely on and relax with?
I mean, from 2002 to 2020, the NFL never changed their rules when it came to playoff teams. So I'm a little confused because I think you're focusing on what has just happened.
You're also leaving out in that time frame the biggest change in the NFL, which is how they police hits on quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Well,
changing the game.
I'm going by
which
what
looks
you're
completely different.
Okay,
completely different.
But that's
rules.
Yes, that is rules. You said conferences and playoffs and stuff like that. I was just calling that out. I think that there has been a change in the way people view football. Football is no longer this beastly sport that, requires men to give it all on one day and maybe not make it to the next one. It's no longer a place for people to have a 4 or 5 year career by choice, right? They're not going to go all out anymore. That's just not football. And I think we're in that transition period where we're going from what it was to what it will be, which is a money-making machine. And when you have a money-making machine, like crypto, like the stocks, like anything that people want to jump on, what's going to happen? People are going to try to jump on it and try to figure out how to make more money and what to do to get more money. That's why the NIL's there. That's why spring leagues are there. That's why things like that happen. So until we get to a point where we are stable and people realize what this is, I think you are going to see this influx of movement and changes. But I do predict that in maybe a few years, we'll have stability that lasts for 20.
So come 2023, when the XFL debuts, it'll have who knows what kind of rule book, who knows what kind of structure compared to 2020. But then once the XFL debuts and moves forward, and presumably, hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise, multiple seasons after that, do you foresee the XFL being a league like the NFL and now what college football is becoming, a league of tweakers, a league that will tweak in order to satisfy a certain group of people that will hopefully result in more money? Because you're saying it right. It all comes down to the money and making more money and stabilizing that. Will the XFL be a league that's going to have to make certain little changes here and there for multiple years after they start in order to be sustainable.
Well, that's the thing is you have to be, and I think the XFL is going to be probably the most fluid situation when it comes to football, because college football is going through their transition now. But either way, I think there's a problem in college football now that probably it's 2025 is when they leave, by the way. So we have a long ways to go, but I feel like college football will be settled by the time those two teams leave, meaning we know what's going to happen. What's going to happen in the Big 12? We're not going to wait till 2025 to understand what happens there, because that's where you're going to be decided. Like, those are the things that I'm saying will eventually figure themselves out. The XFL itself will be the most fluid because they're probably going to be growing. They're going to be changing things. They're going to be trying to figure out what's the best way to make money for themselves and what can they do to help them, because they don't have the advantage of being the NFL and the history. They have to be different and find different ways to make money. So
I have to give it up to the CFL for that in this case, in this scenario, because this is a stubborn league. They don't change anything. So the fans that are the historic fans, the people who've been watching it for years and are going to every year be there, even though there's less of them than a league should have, they don't really tweak too much. They don't make a lot of changes, which is why they have issues finding
why would you give it up to them for that?
Well, I mean, just saying for the sanctity of the sport and the status quo and having a status quo, they're very committed to that, which, as you're pointing out, is not a smart way of doing business.
Yeah, well, that's what baseball did.
Yeah,
baseball stayed with the status quo for years. They were the number one thing ever.
They still are very. Every little discussion for baseball is a big headache, and same deal. It's not complete. They're in a transition too.
Yeah, they're totally in a transition. They're trying to figure out how to bring in more playoff teams, how to make more money. I get it. They're this guzzlers. Why they make so much money is because they play 162 games. That's just the reality of the situation. The NFL in the mid-90s realized something. They realized that they can make money off of what? Their brand. The brand of the NFL. Who gives a crap about the actual sport? It's the brand that we care about. How do we protect our brand? And as soon as players start saying, oh, my head hurts. Oh, parents are like, I don't want my kid to play football. What does the NFL do? Whoa, that's going to affect our brand. So we need to do something about it. So the NFL cares about their brand. That's what happened in the mid-90s. And that's what's happening now. Like you said, they're trying to reach out to specific little parts of the community, right? That says, oh, let's reach out to that group that isn't watching NFL games. Oh, let's reach out to that group and who's not watching NFL games. Like, do you really think that we're ever going to get a halftime show that football fans care about?
Football fans? I mean, not collectively, no.
No, right? I mean, that might also be impossible, but
because it's everybody. That's saying.
But the halftime show is not. But the halftime show is not for people who watch football. It's for people who don't watch football. That's what the halftime show is at the Super Bowl.
Also, if you're saying like, because football fans are everyone though now, because it is everyone. So is there going to be a show that pleases everyone? Never.
I'm the only one in my household that watches football on Sunday. My wife, and my parents that live with us, they do not watch football with me, but they'll watch the halftime show.
Yeah.
They'll watch certain things that grab their attention. That's the stuff that they do. They don't care.
The XFL presumably will be good at that. At getting
they don't
people
care
like them
that
to
the
watch.
St. Louis Rams were in St. Louis and pulling in money, because you know what? They make a lot more money in LA. Now they have a shiny new toy called SoFi Stadium. So it's hard to say that things will be structured and stable because of the money, but I do see the NFL getting to a point where it's like, okay, we'll make minor tweaks here and there, but it's not going to be the effects that you're seeing now. I think the most fluid situation will be the XFL. I think at some point, college football, which has been pretty much stable, the two major questions right now is what's going to happen to the Big 12 and what's the football playoff scenario going to be in a couple of years.
Yeah, college football's major change. It's like the MLB.
Well, with NIL too, that could throw a whole thing into it.
College football is more like MLB when it comes to status quo and all this, the sanctity of the sport and keeping things traditional. The NFL, like you said, since the mid-90s has been ready, willing, and able to make changes to appease, cover their own tuckuses, and just grab at money. The XFL coming in 2023 is going to be a brand new brand. So again, for the third time, this time under, with a new face in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Presumably he'll be doing a lot of the promotion. So a person like him could maybe find a way to bring in people that are in your house that don't watch football immediately. He has a good chance that he's the kind of person that could do that, and then mix it in with the game, and then having in terms of the football, having the history of the XFL not run that deep, just season and a half. There's nobody really besides you and I, of course, the 2020 rulebook rules. They can go out there, throw any rules out there really in 2023 that they want as owners, and they own the league now. They can do that, and they can put it out there. And if they think it's just abysmal and it really hurts their brand, they'll change it. Of course, you're saying they're going to be fluid. They're going to change it. But I think for the XFL to win over football fans, they shouldn't do too much of that, because how can you? You can't. And if it's for the love of football, I know that this is going to be a big media brand, a big entertainment entity as well. But in order to win football fans over, you can't be tweaking too much, especially in your first few years. So I am hoping and really praying that that 2020 rulebook returns in 2023, but also is it messed with after the first season? Looking beyond.
I 100% guarantee whatever rulebook comes into play in 2023 is going to be messed with for 2024, and it's going to be messed with for 2025. They are figuring it out. If the NFL is doing this after this many years, you don't think the XFL is going to do it after one?
Yeah, but the NFL can afford to, and also with gambling now coming into effect across the country, and the NFL having a lot of sway in that.
Yeah, well, so what if the gambling industry comes into the XFL and says, hey, those 1, 2, and 3 point plays really screwing with the over-unders? Really just not working with this. You don't think the XFL is going to look at it and be like, yeah, we tried this with this thing. I think it's just something that we're not going to be able to do. Not working. We took a poll, and a lot of fans said that this was the least important thing that they liked about the XFL rulebook, so we're going to take it out.
Sounds like you just got this in my head. I think we need to talk to someone who's like a Vegas insider, or someone who knows about how the bookies treated the XFL in 2020. I want to know what they thought of that stuff. We need to find out. If you're an insider, an odds maker, talking to you right now, let us know what you think about the XFL in 2020. Was it frustrating to set lines? What were, if you know anybody who does that sort of work, what were they saying? And we're gonna maybe get some. I have some contacts we could try to reach out to. Bryant, we got to get someone on to talk about that, because that's going to affect it as well in the future, and that's also part of the status quo changing.
It's families wanting to go to a football game. It's what's going to happen. Are you going to let your kid watch a game that has 7 F words in the first half? Does the XFL have to change that? It's like, be yourselves, guys, but don't cuss. If you cuss, we're going to have to fine you. Like, that's possible, because there's a lot of stuff. It's different. It's real different.
Yes, it is. It is. We'll see. We'll see. In 20. See, I'm so excited for 2023, but I was so excited for 2021 for the XFL for season 2 to see what they would mess with and tweak, and that is, of course, something we'll keep an eye on. But seeing how all the other leagues are doing it, Bryant's probably right. Hard to fathom the XFL not being a league that is going to be there tweaking their rule book and other things going into year 2. We're thinking ahead, of course, but we're focused on the football, and we just want stability in the game. And I guess since everybody's watching everything, college and pro, maybe not the CFL, although I see a lot of people saying the XFL, CFL rumors got them back into the CFL like it did I was already watching, but now I'm intensely watching. Football is making all this money anyway. So if tweaking makes it money, that's going to continue to happen. But let us know what you think. The future of football and stability and changes to the games and the leagues. Do you think this is going to continue for a while, or are we just in a transition period? Let us know on social media. And wait, what's the same?
Are we in a transition period, or are they just or are they just tweaking things? I think that's the same.
No, I said, are they going to change things forever? In perpetuity, changes every year. This year, quarterbacks can only throw left-handed. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the only right-handed quarterback with a chance. All right. That's it, Bryant. That's it.
Is that it? That was this week. Okay.
Our speculation and roundup of XFL news, the little bit that we had this week. Enjoyed it thoroughly as always, but now I got to watch the second half of this Red Blacks and Lions game.
We got to watch the second half of the Galaxy El Tráfico Classic.
El Tráfico's going on right now. It's a barn burner there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But either way, we're going to be here every single. What is it now? Are we on Fridays? No.
Football Sunday.
Football Sundays, that is, schedule. Right? We're here every single football Sunday right here on your favorite podcast app. That's Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you give us that 5-star review and tell your friends about us. If you got a question, comment, or topic you want us to cover, well, then text or call the XFL Fan Line 724-565-4XFL. Remember, standard text messaging rates do apply. Follow us on all social media platforms at XFL Show, Instagram, Twitter, one day TikTok, Alan's favorite, Facebook. Or if you want to say hi to us and Alan and in all of his globes and where you want to find out exactly where he is, well, subscribe and watch us
in the world
on YouTube.
Is Alan going tomorrow?
At XFL.show, the official website of This is the XFL Show. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Pretty Easy Podcasts. Go to prettyeasypodcasts.com and get started today because they make podcasting pretty easy.
Bryant, can you guess which team had the best run block PFF grade according to Pro Football Focus in 2020's XFL season?
I'm going to go with the Battlehawks.
Wrong. They were fourth. It was the Tampa Bay Vipers. And you would have known that if
they had the two-headed. They had the two-headed.
You would have known if you caved and subbed to Pro Football Focus's elite package like I did this week.
Yeah, you sent me a little
snippet
of that just to kind of see what I was looking at. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. That's just, they blew it today with the UCLA call. So,
what do you mean they blew it? PFF, they had them. They had them winning and covering.
They had them at barely covering, and UCLA covered. Oh, did they cover?
So they're wrong because they didn't get the exact score. Well, now you're just
not even close.
Just way too much. Statistics are helpful in work, Bryant, and you
I'm
love
looking
those
to see
too,
what. Okay,
you love Excel
LA,
sheets.
Top receiving core in the league.
Number one receiving core. A lot of XFL trivia here on this PFF. I'm going to be nerding out though and watching the CFL. Everybody, enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching and listening as always. And don't forget, leave that name in town on that XFL fan line. I was really upset we got that great call, their text.
What if they're like you?
Question about Vince McMahon today.
Hi, I'm Alan from Right Now, New York.
Earth. Just say Earth. Whatever.
Brown.
Just give us a name.
Maybe.
Even if it's a fake name. Whatever. I'll make up a fake name for you then maybe moving forward. I'm not going to say anonymous anymore. All right. Anything else, Bryant? Can I go?
I think that's it. Let's have some fun.
Too.
What was that?
My wife wants to go to dinner. She's yelling at me behind me. She's right here.
I've heard you're getting some sushi. Careful. You don't know what's going on back behind there. It's a little dark. Either way, it's a lot of fun. We'll be back here. Make sure you catch us every single week, like I said. And Alan, who knows where you'll be next week? I'm excited to find out. I don't ask you anymore because I want it to be on the show.
Oh, I honestly don't know. It won't be in this seat. I guarantee you that. And we'll leave it at that. See you next Football Sunday, everybody. For Bryant, I'm Alan. This is the XFL Show. Remember, they're listening.